Good morning, Renee.
Morning.
Thank you for being willing to demonstrate how we're doing color card readings. I appreciate it. So I'm going to start right from the beginning. I know you don't have color cards yet, so I'm going to be picking the cards for you, but people who are on this video can know that they can pick cards for themselves, because part of this is to teach you how to do that. All right, so I want to show you the two things that we're going to be using. This is the ColorCard Set. And that has, and one of the things I like to tell people is once you take the outside wrapping off of it, just open it from the side like this. Don't tear the ends of it. And that way you have the box that you can put this back in again. So if you see there's a book here, and in the center, whoops, and in the center is the large color cards. Now we're going to use two different sets. So now you can see that you have a box that you can keep your color cards in. And here's the book. And then these are the large cards. Now we also have what we call mini color cards. They look like this. And the best way to open them is on the back. You'll see there's a staple. And if you undo that staple, you will find that there's a little bag inside of here, and you can use that afterwards for your mini color cards. So you just open that up. It has a little explanation. There's ways you can use the mini color cards on their own if you want to. I'm going to show you how to use both of these together. So here's your set of mini color cards. And there are 16 of those. And they are the same colors as the big ones, and there are 16 of those. And so what we're going to do is use the mini color cards as a way of focusing in on something that you want to know. Now, the nice thing about them is that if you see at the one end, it has a strength, and at the other end, it has a lesson. The lighting's not real good. And that lesson then tells you in the middle what a complementary color is, so you can use that. And the reason for this is the mini color cards were meant to be something you could carry in your pocket. So let's say you're at work and something's gone on there that is frustrating, or you're having trouble with somebody. So you just take your mini color cards and I shuffle them just by going like this. So, because you want them to, some of them will show up as strengths and some will show up as lessons. So if you just do that, or you can put them on the table and just mix them that way. So for example, here, let's just say that something's going on at work, and we're going to just pick one card out of this, and you just do it at random. Just put the intention out that you're picking one. All right, the lesson here is in brown, and it says own your own worth. I get this one a lot. And you'll notice in the middle is a dusty brown. So it says in the middle, breathe dusty brown for balance. So I'm also going to show you some other ways that you can work with colors. But this is like an immediate. So you're sitting at your desk, you're frustrated, you pick this card, you recognize that part of what's going on is that you're not owning up to who you are. You know, you're just letting other people be the ones that are in charge. So you just take a deep breath and take in that dusty brown, the dusty blue, and sit with the brown. And those colors will go to you immediately and start shifting your energy, because this is all about yourself. If you're sitting there and you're not owning your own worth, then it's your job to reclaim that. It's not about the other person. Okay, so that shows you the basics of the color cards. We're going to use the large cards as a way to see what this has to do with your life purpose. I always like to see, we go through lessons, or we are told to actually own up to our strengths. And the reason for that is that we are really working on why we came into this life. How do we shift into who we are in our authenticity, the true self that's inside of us. So looking at it in terms of what your life purpose is kind of puts it into a larger perspective. So we're going to do both of those. So any questions about that, Renee?
Thank you.
Okay. So what would you like to focus on today? What's up for you that you would like to work on?
I feel like it's just sort of like a time for me to refresh and recharge. I feel really heavy. I feel there's a lot clinging to me. I also would like to be able to kind of relax and enjoy and let things go as they come. I'm constantly finding my purpose or trying to find my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing here. So I feel like it's time to renew.
Good. Okay. And one of the things I'll tell you about purpose is you're already doing it, and so part of it is to relax into what's already there, because whatever is going on for you, it's a part of what is happening there is you are being taught how to clean up your own act, be able to know who you are in this life and also as a soul in this life. And so you're already doing it. So it's not about, don't go out looking for it. Just be with what's here and focus on the heart, because that's where you'll find your strength and you'll find your direction. All right, so I have a set of color cards here that are actually 3 mini ColorCard sets. And this is how I train people to do readings, because sometimes you're going to use the same card more than once. And so what I'm going to do now, Renee, is just to focus on what kind of information could help you to settle into yourself more so you can enjoy life more, and so that you can come from a greater flow and sense of satisfaction. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to pick this one. All right. What I got, and this doesn't surprise me, is it's the strength in magenta, compassionate healing. Okay, the thing, you'll notice I've used these cards a lot. It's got a little grease in it. The thing about this is to remember that you have that strength already, and to apply that to yourself, as well as know that you're taking that into your life for your family and for your work. How does that feel to you? What does that say to you?
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. I'm probably, I probably give lesser attention to myself and my own needs than others. And I'm probably a little hard on myself at times.
So the color here is magenta. It's a red, but has a pinkish cast to it. And magenta is huge in our time right now. And I want to go to the strength of magenta so you get a better understanding what that is. So I'm going to go to the color card book. And what I want to show you is that there is, in the front, there's a table of contents. And unfortunately, I didn't put the color on the cards. So you'll get used to that as you're using the color cards as to what colors are the ones that you want to go to. And also, if you want to just look at, I turned right to it. In the spine, it says the color as well as in the table of contents. So we're in magenta. Now, what I want to show you is that here's the beginning of the chapter on magenta. And what you see is that there's an explanation about magenta to start with. And then you see strength. Okay, so there is the strength has a number of paragraphs. And if you go to the end of those paragraphs, you're going to see lessons. And then there are some paragraphs about lessons. And then, let's see. You're going to see healing exercise. So if it came up as a lesson, one of the things you might want to do is do the healing exercise. And then you'll see that there's a page that says life purpose, and it has several possibilities there. So one of the things, when a strength like this comes up, it says you already have this strength, but you may not be using it to its full capacity. And that's just as important as working on the things that have come up as lessons. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to just ask you, if you were to use, well, let's look at magenta first, and then I'm going to have you see how you could use that for yourself. Okay, so this is the general explanation of magenta. Magenta is a powerful color that is just now coming to our attention. Its ability to transmute unbalanced energy is more powerful than violet, and it carries within it a compassion more mature than what's offered through the color pink. It is located in the deep center of the heart, although it is not traditionally associated with the heart chakra. It can also be experienced just above the top of the head. Magenta is made up of passion, the passion and independence of red, the expansive possibilities in white, and the desire to speak out and change the world found in blue. Lime green is the color that balances magenta. From lime green comes open-hearted, clear empowerment, balanced by magenta's transforming compassion that is extended to the whole world. The other thing that has come from lime green, as I've worked with it over the years, is that it's the color of the new kind of leadership. All of us are being called into a new kind of leadership, and the kind of thing that we see in the world right now is part of that call, because we see the opposite of the leadership that we would like to see. So that means that you and I have to step into our calling to be leaders. And that doesn't mean you have to be in front of a big group of people or anything. It just means that you live out your authenticity to the best of your ability. And lime green is that leadership. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the strength in magenta, and I want you to listen. I'm just going to read the titles of the paragraphs, and then you tell me what one or two of those stand out for you, okay? Powerful transmutation, compassion, spiritual competence, dedication, giving something back, passion, trust, bringing change, celebration of life. Do you want me to read them again?
Passion. Read them again.
Okay.
I'll write it down.
Powerful transmutation,
Mm-hmm.
compassion, spiritual competence, dedication, giving something back, passion, trust, bringing change, and celebration of life.
Bringing change, giving something back, passion, and dedication.
Okay, so we'll start with dedication. Your dedication to wholeness is your strength. Can you take that in? Your dedication to wholeness is your strength. When others would give up on the world, you are steady on the course, knowing that all will come into its best timing. When others would condemn the world, you see the positive changes that give hope for the future. You work for wholeness in people, in communities, and the larger world. Mm-hmm. Does that feel right to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one of the things is, because I know you, Renee, you are very highly sensitive, intuitive, and there's a tendency for those of us that feel that in a very strong way to take on the discouragement of others. So that's one of the things you need to watch for, because your natural part of you is to not be in that discouraged energy. You have the strength that lives in this place of hope. And sometimes what the world does is says to you, well, that's not being practical. That's
Mm-hmm.
not what's really going on. And you have to come back to your strength, because your strength is the hope, but it's also the discernment. It's paying attention to what's going on, but at the same time, maintaining that hope. All right, giving something back. From your positive and compassionate viewpoint, you feel blessed by all that you have experienced and those who have been in your life. There have been low points and high points, but all have brought you to this point. There has been pain and sorrow, joy and thanksgiving. All have contributed to the fabric of your life. None has been unimportant. You now feel ready to contribute from a place of gratitude, completion, and hope. So
Exactly.
this is an opportunity for you to own up to how much you've done already. You've come through a lot in your life. And so now you are here to hold that energy of hope. And that means you have to do for yourself whatever it is that you need so that you can stay in that place of completion and hope. Okay, passion. Though you are detached from specific outcomes in life, you are passionate about the process. There is nothing passive about you. Where there is injustice or corruption, you are willing to step in to see what can be done. Where there is suffering, you roll up your sleeves to find a way to help without making others dependent on you. Where there is misunderstanding, you ask for guidance for yourself and all others involved. Whenever possible, you bring a compassionate presence to the process. So remember, that's your strength. And if you get away from that, you're going to feel it. It's going to be like, oh, I'm so off today. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Because your strength is in that passion for helping yourself and others come into their own. And in your job, that's part of what you're doing, is helping people see how they can stay healthy and how they can live a life that really gives them joy. But at the same time, you're teaching them how to do it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that's important to recognize because that's part of who you are. And then trust. Most of all, you trust yourself. You trust your inner guidance. You trust that you are supported from beyond yourself. All of this makes it possible for you to trust others. This is not a blind trust. This is a trust based on your understanding of human nature. You know that each person is operating as authentically as possible, given what he or she has agreed to work on in this lifetime. Trust includes knowing what to turn over to another and what to keep back, depending on what the person is able to handle. Clear communication replaces expectations. Compassion replaces caution. A belief that whatever transpires is working toward the greatest good for all replaces holding back. You are teaching the world a new way for people to relate to each other. So tell me about that. How do you feel that happens in your life? Can you give kind of some examples of that?
I think right now it comes forward with my leadership. I've got some staff that I work with that have some issues, I think, personally, and it's coming out in their job. It's frustrating. There's been times where they've been so consumed with what's going on, they didn't show up to work on time or not at all. And so at first I feel a little frustrated and a little angry, sort of almost like the victim, like, why me? Why do I have to have employees like this? But yesterday it came full circle. I sat down with someone and I just said, what's going on? And she has health concerns, pretty severe health concern coming up that she needs to deal with, which I felt. She's got some grief, and she gets very clouded and exhausted. And I was just glad I listened. And I laid down clear boundaries and stated what the policy was and back to the, corporate side of things. But from myself, I was very very happy to be present with her and to kind of unravel what's been happening, because from the outside, it almost looked like it was a little bit of a manipulation on her part, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's true grace. And I feel that we don't always give each other true grace.
It's true.
And my fear is I give too much grace or too much of a give, and then I get, sort of taken advantage of. But I've also learned that there's a balance. So, being true to myself, stating, what my needs are, yet being open to, understanding the other side. So,
yeah, and it sounds like what you did for her was give her a place to actually talk about what's going on, and at the same time helping her to see very clearly what it's going to take to continue her job.
Yes. Yeah,
And
it felt good. It felt like it was a great understanding and a good compromise. And I feel that, being a leader, you have to give up. It's not about power and control. It's about leading people. And it's also a lot about strengths-based leadership to create that balanced team. And I think that you hit it on the head when you said that I kind of take on others' energy or some of their discouragement. So I get a little bit heavy because, I'm very positive, and at times you feel like, what is wrong with me? Am I just not seeing the clear picture here? Where am I headed? What's my purpose? So I think that the way things are going in the world, we have to learn to communicate, give grace, understanding, see the other person's point of view. And when that doesn't happen, it's pretty serious.
Yeah. And at the same time, I think it's very helpful for people to have someone else in front of them giving them clarity about what it's going to take, because they have to take responsibility for themselves.
Yes.
You're not their caretaker. You're not their parent. You're there to help them find a way to come to their strengths. And sometimes just pointing out that strength is very healing as well.
Yeah. Judgment leads to shame, and I don't want anyone to feel shame.
Yeah. And they can still understand that everybody has things they're good at and other things that they're either wanting to learn, or it's something they have to get someone else who has that strength to work with them in order for them to get the job done. Cool. All right. So I'm going to now pick a card from this deck, the big cards, and we're going to see, what does this have to do with your life purpose? Okay. And I'm just kind of doing a little shuffle here. Oh, this is great. All right. It's the color black. A lot of people don't like the color black, but black is a great color. So now I'm going to go.
I wear it a lot, but I don't like looking at it for some reason.
All right. So black, I'm going to the life purpose. Oops, that's blue. Life purpose in black. Here we go. So here are some possibilities. So see if any or all of these are part of you. Looking at all possibilities, accepting duality, bringing the shadow to light, opposing the shadow. Does any one of those jump out?
Bringing the shadow to light.
Okay, so because you have been willing to face your own shadow side, you will help others to face the shadow within them. These persons may go through their lessons faster than you did because you are there to help them. Sometimes this may take you into hidden places within the person that need to experience the light. Sometimes this may mean you must face the shadow side of society. You have learned that whether something is dark or light, it is energy that ultimately comes from the divine source. Therefore, within that which seems dark, there is light. You help others search for that light within the darkness because you have come through so much that was difficult within your own life. You know how to navigate through obstructions. You will know how and when to ask for assistance.
I question that last part. When do I ask for assistance?
Always, but not necessarily of other humans. It depends. But
yeah,
always asking for assistance from your inner guidance and any others that you work with, whether they're angels or they're other guides or however you experience that. That is an everyday process. And sometimes it comes with gratitude. Thank you for being here with me, because I know I'm not alone in this. And sometimes it comes from specific people in your life. I know I have ones that I can call when I feel like I'm off track or I don't understand what's happening. It's a whole lot easier to talk it through with someone else that you trust who's on a similar path to you. And that doesn't necessarily mean family. Sometimes it is family, but in my case, there's no family that's on the same path that I am. So it becomes my extended family, my chosen family. So I think everybody has to find those people. This is a very lonely existence if we just try to do it ourselves.
It's true.
So you have a very important place that you're at right now, because you're already doing your life purpose. And I would really encourage you to let all that go. Don't worry about life purpose. You're already doing it. It's just being as authentic as you can be and knowing where your strengths are, knowing those places. Like you said, sometimes there's a sense that maybe you get too caught up in being compassionate. I don't think that's possible, but sometimes the human part of us wants to save everybody, so we get caught up in that. So this is more about you just being true to yourself. And I really would encourage that for everybody. Instead of continuing to look for what your purpose is, just be as authentic as you possibly can.
It's true.
So just say a word about what has come from for you with this reading.
Settled, peaceful, a little better understanding, taking a moment to just kind of be in the moment, thinking about it. It's almost like you said, it's a little too much to take in. So breaking it down is kind of what I get out of this. This is what I'm going to do today. And it's okay to talk about the long-term goals or worry about the big picture. But, being in the moment, thinking about what am I going to do today to make things better for myself and others, and putting myself first, I think.
And the other thing is to remember that at a soul level, you had some things that you wanted to do in this lifetime. And that doesn't mean that it's just one way to do that. There are different possibilities. And you, the part of you that's the conscious part in form here, you are in charge of paying attention and making choices. So it just means that staying on that track of being in touch with yourself is your purpose, right. Because you will know when the timing is that you're to do something else. I mean, I always know because I lose any kind of motivation for whatever it is that I've been doing. And I've learned to not be upset with myself, just say that is an indication that either that's finished or there's something more for me to add to it because I'm not feeling motivated. And we just begin to understand those signs of when we're motivated and when we're not. And that allows us to be in a position to understand ourselves better and to understand others better.
It gets heavy sometimes. It feels like it should be easier. And that can be a frustration for me. Like you said, you're on your own path. And to me, that sounds lonely, but it also sounds very unique, and
Yeah.
and that's your opportunity.
Yeah.
But it does, it gets really heavy. Like, I wish others could see things the way I do, or the goodness of it all, instead of being dragged down by the, oh, I didn't get, my Starbucks coffee wasn't hot enough today, or all these silly things that happen. In the big picture, really doesn't matter. So I'm always saying, and I say this to my kids and my own family, my husband's like, does it really matter? Really, is that a big deal?
Yeah.
So
and maybe it is for them, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. You're probably right.
But what I feel is the biggest concern that we need to have is, how do we stay in the energy that we know is our authenticity? And your authenticity is not in blame. It's not in, oh, everything's going wrong. So when you stay in the authenticity of hope and of being there as a healing, compassionate presence, that means that you're doing everything you can in relationship to all the people around you. And it's not about changing them, not even about reminding them. It's just about being present in your own authentic energy.
I really need to create a dream board and put these things on it, just to keep me focused.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm so grateful for this. I hope this is really helpful for others who are in the process of working with the color cards. There's a lot there. We've only just touched the surface of that, but it can be done by yourself. It can be done with a friend. It can be one of our practitioners doing it for people. All of that is possible.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.